learning to like claim that thing that you want, and the power of your belief in self, and the power of the word that you speak out loud about yourself, and not being afraid to share that. And like, I think when you say the thing that you want out loud, it pushes you to actually achieve it that much more.
100. Welcome to the Island Girls Rock podcast. Here, we honor the stories, voices, and everyday magic of Caribbean women and girls across generations. Let's get into today's conversation. Okay, everyone, we are back. Welcome to the Island Girls Rock podcast. And today, I am very excited to be speaking with Nikeva Stapleton, a true modern-day Renaissance woman. Nikeva is an actor, dancer, model, wellness instructor, and teaching artist whose career has taken her from stages with Beyonce and Lana Del Rey to screen projects with Spike Lee. I remember that. That was a Netflix series. I really enjoyed that. And Marlon Wayans. And I think I saw you in that one, Nikeva. Anyway, beyond her work in performance, she's deeply committed to giving back to the Caribbean. She teaches with organizations such as Island Girls Rock. Oh, that's us. Art Saves Lives in St. Martin, LEAP, and Girls Eliminated in St. Kitts. And she loves sharing her passion and expertise with young girls across the region. Nikeva is also the founder of the Intuit Body, her own movement and wellness practice, and she serves as an ambassador for a certain island's tourism authority. Today, we will speak with her about her journey, her creative process, and how she is definitely inspiring the next generation of Caribbean creatives. Nikeva, welcome.
Well, what a welcome.
Hello. Nikeva, before we even get into it, you see what I did there?
I see that. You know, it's so catchy. It's so catchy.
I want to talk about that and speak about the name. But before we do, let the people know what island you're repping.
The one and only Nevis Island for me.
We'd love to hear it.
Yes.
Love to hear it. And yes, everyone, I'm biased, okay? I'm biased. I love Nevis.
Bias over here as well.
Hello.
Small island, big things.
Thank you very much. We little but Talawa. Yes, we are.
Yes.
So, Nikeva, I want to kind of go back to when you first knowingly stepped into the world as a young creative spirit. What for you do you feel were the earliest clues that artistry would eventually become home for you?
Well, I think my artistry started in the home. Frankly, from both my mother and father's influence in different ways. I have a very Caribbean American upbringing.
Right.
So I found that I was gaining influence from my mom and literally dancing in the living room, constantly watching musicals. That was my claim to fame in the house, like putting on these performances, involving my brother, who then followed in my footsteps at home. Just like we were constantly performing. And I love all those home videos to this day, coupled with my father and my entire Navision family of artists. So constantly hearing string band music in the home, both in Chicago and then seeing it live when I was in Nevis. My dad is the dancer of the entire family. He would always be dancing with me. I learned masquerade dance, traditional masquerade troupe dance from very young. I've had that jig down since I was probably 5 or 6 years old. So it was nice to I'm seeing this classical musical rendition of dancing and performance through Gene Kelly and Sid Charisse, but then also seeing my dad, break down a rhythm like no other and have his hips going and just the jovialness that comes with masquerade dance. So it was just constantly being around music and movement, and even just musically in the home, there was constantly music in the kitchen. It would either be during the daytime, some reggae music going, and at nighttime it was jazz. Like, and it was
Mm.
constantly just in the boombox or like old radio,
Ye
like in the kitchen.
yes.
And I just have these very like visceral memories of like dim lighting and the jazz music at night, or in the middle of the day on a Sunday making pancakes to like Bob Marley. So
Mm.
the music and the dance was just always a really strong part. And so it started with the dance, and I asked to be put in dance class at about 7 or 8. So it wasn't even something that I was pushed into
Yeah.
formally by either parent, but
Okay.
I wanted to go to dance class. And then from there, I think that I had a lot of innate talent, and then
Yeah.
that honed with just the discipline that comes with showing up. And I, characteristically, I'm a disciplined Capricorn, and I like to
Oh,
put in the
girl. So this
time.
is season, right? Are we in Capricorn
Oh,
season? No.
we're going to enter it very soon. It's
Oh,
almost
very
that
soon.
time.
Okay.
Yes, yes. But yeah, it was, so I stuck with it, and I
Mm,
think, I was admittedly good from a young age, so I think
right.
I was automatically encouraged just to keep going. And yeah, those were the early stages.
Early, early stages. And you paint such a beautiful picture of, what seems to be just embedded in your DNA,
Mhm.
through your dad and his family, and the masquerade and the dancing from
Mhm.
Nevis, and also your mom's, musicality, because I've seen your
Yeah.
mom dance and I
Yes,
know she
yes.
can get down. Okay.
She can. She actually met my dad out dancing in Nevis at, let's say, like, Old Manor
Wonderful.
Hotel when they used to have
Oh.
dances, and so she's definitely familiar with, the
Mm,
groove as well.
I
So I have to give
love
her her
that.
credit. Mhm.
Yes, yes, mom. And I wanna get back to your mom, later down in the conversation because I
Okay,
need to
lovely.
ask her a question, and I'm gonna ask her through you. But, you know, Nikiva, I've known you for a few years, but of course, this is a very different space for us to have a conversation. And so I wanted to approach it almost as if I didn't know you.
I love that.
And I discovered something which I might have known, but there was a period in your life, I feel that you were either leaning towards studying law or had began to study
Mhm.
law. And so for me, I feel like a lot of people may not know that about you, that your academic
Yeah.
path was taking you towards law. So
Yeah.
what pulled you toward that field originally? And
Mhm.
then what ultimately shifted you into more full-time creative study and
Mhm.
performance?
Yeah, I was always into school. I'm one of those people that have
Mm,
always liked school. So academics came
right.
very naturally to me. And from a very young age, probably 8th grade, I think it was, I was like, I want to go to New York and be a dancer and a
Mhm.
lawyer. And I promise I have
Right.
that expository essay like still saved. And for college programs, I only applied to 3 schools: University of Michigan, NYU, and Fordham. They each had these bona fide dance programs, but Ailey, being with Fordham, was the number one, and Fordham
Perfect.
Law is a
Mm,
very good law school. And the lawyer part of it, honestly, I think it came from my debating skills with my
okay.
father, which he will love that as much as we butt
Mm,
heads. At the end, it always ends in a smile because he loves that I can really stick it to him with a good argument.
mm,
So that part of my character was honed from a very early age. And I also was just very intrigued by the prestige of it. I think I love
okay.
a challenge and I love competition. And especially in the era that I was growing up in, like, becoming a lawyer was like, woo, like she passed the
Mm,
LSAT, she did the thing.
mhm, mhm.
So admittedly, it like a lot of it was a little bit surface level of like, I want this prestigious degree because I'm a bad baddie and I can do that and
Yes.
I'm smart enough and I want that accolade for myself. On the other hand, I actually was really interested in race relations, being a mixed
Mhm.
individual growing up in Chicago, specifically Oak Park, which is known to be the mixed community of all.
Okay.
I was really interested in mixed in race relations, and I felt like it would be really cool to study all things race relations and enter law from that way.
Mm.
Um, I later, with a little bit more knowledge of what that means, realized that that wasn't necessarily the way to go for the money. And I
Okay.
was like, I had to realize, what are the deeper reasons that I really want to do this, and is it come from a passionate place, because it is going to take a lot of focus, and maybe I would change the area that I would focus
Mm.
on. But either way, it was still, something that I wanted to do. So I made sure that with the schools I applied to, they all had strong law programs as well
Okay.
as a dance program.
Nice
And
one.
I got into them in that order, like Michigan, okay, cool. That was like the safety. And my family, my grandfather was a lawyer. My grandfather and my uncle on my mom's side were lawyers, and
Right.
they both went to University of Michigan. I am almost positive,
Okay.
at least for undergrad or grad, one or the other. I think my uncle went to NYU at one point as well, but Michigan was like a family, legacy kind of law program school for us. And then NYU, being in New York, and Fordham being in New York. And then my mom was the one to remind me that Fordham was not to remind me, but tell me that Fordham was connected with Ailey for this Bachelor of Fine Arts program. And I was like,
Nice.
that's the kingpin. To me, Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater, is like the NBA of Black dance. And
Come on now.
I wanted to shoot, for the
Mm-hmm.
stars.
Mm-hmm.
So boom, got into that program, was super proud, and went off to New York. My dean at the time was helping me to make sure all of my uh, prerequisites and my classes that I was choosing were on track to be a good candidate for the law program thereafter my
Right.
BFA. And when I graduated, I, still wanted to go to law school, but I wanted to take a couple of years to dance. And in
Okay.
my like perfect timeline of a mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to,
Uh-huh.
be a professional dancer for a couple of years, check off
Right.
Beyonce, check off Broadway, check off this, that, and the third. And then I'm going to go back
Uh-huh.
to law school. And then when you get there, you realize like, okay, this takes time. Like you can't
Okay.
just graduate. I mean, you can, I've definitely had early stages of luck in my various career paths, but
Mm.
it takes time to really create the longevity of the career that you want. And it doesn't happen overnight or in two years. So that was a bit unrealistic of a timeline for what I wanted to achieve. The level of dancer that I wanted to become was
Mm-hmm.
pretty unrealistic in graduating at 22 and going to law school at 25. Like
Yeah.
those were the numbers I was giving myself,
Okay. In true
married. Yes.
Capricorn
In
style, like
true,
this is how it's going to happen.
exactly. In true Capricorn style, it was boom, go to Fordham and Ailey,
Yes.
and then dance from 23 to 25, 25 go to law
Hmm.
school, get married, 27,
Of
28, have my
course.
first kid at 30. Like that
There
was
we go.
set. That was set. That's exactly how it was going to go for me.
Oh
And then,
gosh.
life lifed, and my dance career
Mm.
just kept getting better and stronger. And then as soon as I graduated, I was scouted left and right for modeling, being in New York, being
Right.
5'10", being very comfortable in front of the camera. So those two things went hand in hand. I was modeling and dancing simultaneously. And then what do you know? I start getting asked if I'm an actor. And I was asked so many times, that is what alone pushed me into acting
Mm.
class. I was like, I want to be able to say yes to these things. These opportunities are coming
Okay.
to my doorstep, and I need to add that skill because in true me fashion, like I want to be able to do it all. I'm challenged. I want the next challenge. So
I
take
seem to
yes.
remember, Nikeva. We were in Nevis, I think 2014, around the same time when we initially met.
Uh-huh.
And you were just getting into your acting, right?
Yes.
So I just
Yes.
wanted to pause you there because you said something to me then, and I want to come back to it. So this is why
Mhm.
I interrupted you, right?
Yes.
Because I wanted to make sure that we spoke about that. But for me, the period that you're describing in your life
Yes.
sounds really intense. And I want
Yes.
to know, what did that time of your life teach you about discipline,
Mhm.
self-belief, and
Mhm.
owning your artistic identity? Because there's
Mm.
a lot going on. As you said,
Yeah.
you graduated, you had this plan, right?
Mhm.
But then life was like, girl, you're gonna have to dance for a while. But
Yes,
then while
yes.
you're dancing, you're in New York. As you said, you're beautiful, you're tall, you're not afraid to be in front of the camera. So naturally, you then
Mhm.
fall into modeling. And of
Mhm.
course, natural trajectory,
Mhm.
acting. So
Yes.
I'm feeling like you would have had to have some pretty serious self-discipline about you to manage these
Yeah.
many threads that were opening up for you. So what
Yeah.
was that like for you? What did life teach you about being disciplined and your own belief of self, and how
Mhm.
you then saw your artistic identity blossoming?
Yeah, that's a great question, and what a time. I love that you remember me telling you that. That was the year,
Mm,
2014. Um,
2014.
yeah, I think first of all, moving to New York at 18
Mm,
was amazing, and going to college, my dorm was on the corner of 9th and 50 and 60th and ninth, like right down the
Okay.
street from Columbus Circle and Central Park,
Mm,
and you're just like in the thick of it. And being at Fordham University and at Ailey, like I'm in these programs that are requiring a lot of you. So it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Like you have to keep
mhm.
up and you have to develop a certain amount of discipline in order to keep yourself to perform at that level that New York
Right.
requires, that these programs require. And I realized that I was truly getting good at it. But I think
Mhm.
what it also taught me, one thing around that time is my dad. I remember, so the ALE 2 program is, what a lot of us that go to the BFA program want to get into, like that
Okay.
first step, the ALE 2 company, which
And
is
why is that?
it's hopefully the funnel into the main company.
Okay.
There are also dancers who go straight to the main company or go on to different things, but Ailey 2 is like the junior company to the
Mm,
Ailey company, and that's definitely what I had my eyes on. And you don't audition for that company; they choose you, and there's one or two people
okay.
chosen a year, and that kind of thing. And I remember, wanting that, but never being vocal about it, and feeling like maybe too shy or like too good or honestly probably too scared to say that I wanted it.
Mm,
By fear of like, well, what if I don't get it? And there that would and I remember when I didn't at the end of senior year and my dad asking me, well, did they know that you wanted it?
oh,
And that
wow.
is one phrase that I feel like I took from that moment on through the rest of my 20s. So I graduated college in 2010. So by
Okay.
2014, I had heard, coming from my dad, did they know that you wanted it? And the truth answer was no. Like I didn't take that time to um sit outside of the classroom to watch the rehearsals when I didn't have
Right.
to be there, and I don't blame myself at that time. Like I was
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
other things and I was very involved in like the other campus and just like my college life. But I do remember probably some imposter syndrome that was creeping in of like not wanting to speak on this is what I want and like saying it out loud and making sure those people in charge knew that I wanted it. And yes, my talent was good enough for it, but I think
Mhm.
it's everyone once you get to a certain level, everyone is talented. Like are you going to make a move that says like, hey, I want this more than the other person?
Right.
And so taking that advice, I think is what really was a turning point for me to then like push myself through modeling and acting and make some really serious strides, because I always then in the back of my head was like, do they know that I want this? Like, how can I be that standout model or that standout actor and push myself a step in front of the other people that are really good? And
Mm,
it was like about learning to like claim that thing that you want, and the power of your belief in self and the power of the word that you speak out loud about yourself, and sharing that and not being afraid to share that. And like I think when you say the thing that you want out loud, it pushes you to actually achieve it that much more
100.
as well.
Mm,
So I'd say that's what comes to mind when you ask me that question of like, what did I learn in that period? And it was really about like, I think I gained a lot of balls, so to speak. And like,
yeah, yeah.
I just, and knowing that like, oof, like I don't want another dream of mine to pass me by without voicing that like this is what I want.
This is what I
And
want.
not, yeah,
Yeah.
and not being too proud to say it or
Yeah.
too scared to say it.
Mm. And the thing is,
Yeah.
Nikeva, that conversation, I'm going to tell you what you said to me because I
Yes.
remember, and you moved off after you said what you said, and your mom was like, I don't know how she's going to do this. Right?
Mm.
And your mom was like, I don't really understand. I don't know how she's going to do this.
Yeah.
We were at the gallery.
Ah.
We were at the Charlestown Gallery, and
Mhm.
I think Deborah had something going on that summer. It was summer.
Uh-huh.
It was the 40th anniversary of Culturama, so it was
Mhm.
definitely 2014. And you said to me, I really want to pursue acting.
Mhm.
You said that to me. You said, and I remember saying to you, well, do it, right?
Mhm.
I remember
Mhm.
I said to you, well, do it, Nikeva. And you
Yes.
looked at me and you said, you're right. Yeah. Hmm. And I went back to England because I was home for a few months and I went back. And I don't know if it was 2015 or 2016. I happened to be on Facebook and I
Mhm.
saw this post about you being in that Netflix film with Marlon
Yes.
Wayans, right?
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
like, she did it.
Yeah.
So you
I
spoke
know.
it, you claimed it, just like your dad said. You made
Yeah.
it known, you spoke it
Yeah.
into existence. And I said, there
Yeah.
she goes. And then a few years later, you were in Spike Lee's remake of his film,
Mhm.
the TV series, the Netflix,
Yes.
sorry, series
Yes.
version of what She's Gotta Have It,
She's
right?
gotta have it. Yes, yes.
And then I'm there because I don't think I knew you were in that. And I was
Mhm.
watching one of the episodes, and there's this beautiful dance scene. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yes.
And it was, I'm like, you go, girl. So
Yeah.
proud of you in that moment. And it's a very good, you got lots of camera time. All right. I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, that's right. That's right, Nevis.
I know.
So for me, it leads me into my next question. So you're performing with global artists, to working on sets with, the Spike Lee, and of
Mhm.
course Marlon Wayans. And I have so much respect for the Wayans family. And you've
Yes.
moved very fluidly between dance, acting, and screen work.
Mhm.
How have these experiences shaped your understanding of yourself as a
Mhm.
multi-dimensional artist rather than
Mhm.
being just one thing?
Yeah. I have very much learned to love myself for being a jack of all trades.
Mhm.
That was another hurdle I had to get past, and I'd say around that like, we had that conversation, 2014. I was
Yes.
dabbling with the idea of moving to LA,
Yes, you
knowing that
were.
I wanted to for the main reason of, like, being in the thick of it for the acting
Mm-hmm.
world,
Mm-hmm.
and also having done 8 years in New York, wanting
Right.
to explore the LA scene as well, and took that leap, very much a leap because I booked a one-way ticket originally. Um,
Yes.
and, you know, I remember this is around the 8 time of, like, Instagram really taking off as well,
Mm-hmm.
and sitting with someone who was helping me curate my page or just giving me some ideas, and, she said, "You wanna create your page to, like, your brand yourself, right?" And this is where
Yes.
I learned, like, the importance of branding, and I said, "Well, you know what? I actually have a lot of parts to me, and I
Mm.
wanna be able to use this Kiva Keeves page to show all parts of me."
Okay.
And, without deterring me from doing that and forcing me to pick one, we thought together, like, well, on this nine square grid, what
Mm-hmm.
are those nine boxes that I would like to show of myself? Because of all the things that I do, there's a lot of, like, I can fill those up. And
Yeah.
that was me, like, really taking accountability and taking charge and saying, like, I am going to press forward as all of these things. I don't have to choose one. And I think, like, there's a lot of, like, multi-hyphenate became a buzzword a couple years
Mm-hmm.
later, but in
Mm-hmm.
2014, 2015, it wasn't, it was more shunned upon. And,
Yes.
the continuation of the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none, but quite often better than a master of one.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I remember I hadn't even known the second part of that phrase at that point,
I
and
thank
I
you. And a
had
lot of
to,
people
yes,
don't.
right.
Yes.
And, that's not to shun anyone that is a master of one. That's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but not everybody has multiple talents. And I truly think that I have multiple talents, and I wouldn't want to spend this one precious life, like,
Mm-hmm.
only focusing on one. So I'm so happy that, with the encouragement of other individuals around me, especially in LA too, of seeing people do more than one thing, or even
Yes.
just as a dancer, you learn very early that the most versatile dancer is going to work the most. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm just studying ballet, then I'm going to miss out on other opportunities. If I'm well versed in ballet, in jazz, in hip hop, in tap
Yes.
dance, then, like, that broadens my world to how many other things I can do. So I think that
Yeah.
concept of versatility was developed as a dancer in me, and then knowing that, okay, to make life work as a dancer, you might need to take on something else. And I was
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough to not, lean into the restaurant lane or the bar lane, which is perfectly fine. But I was like, let me lean into this modeling lane and see if I can do it that way. And I did. Like, that was my breadwinner when dance
Yes.
wasn't working. And
Yes.
then, adding the acting to that, I think, to jump forward to now, it's like, when one lane isn't moving fast, I can kind of veer into
You
the other
step
one,
into
and
the
that lane is
other.
moving, and then I can veer into the
Mm-hmm.
other one, and that is what's
Mm-hmm.
carried me as a freelance artist, being able to do multiple things and
Mm-hmm.
be very decent and more than decent at all of
More
them,
than,
more than
more
decent.
than Nikeva. Come on
I
now, girl. Come on.
I being able to master all of them is the
Yes.
goal, and I think
Yes.
I feel like I got to the level that I wanted to as a dancer
Definitely.
and as a model, and now acting is where I'm like pushing the hardest to get past the highest hurdle. But
Definitely.
that feels really good. So I think back to your point,
Mm.
it was the influence of people around me, like shout out to LA and shout out to all the creatives there,
Mhm. Mhm.
teaching me that I'm not alone and being good at
Many
more than
things.
many things.
Many
And then,
things.
to the world of Instagram for allowing me to like showcase those many
Yes.
things. And yeah, to the few individuals around me that were like, do it all.
Mm.
But
Good.
it's so crazy that I remember this like shame of like that multi-hyphenate title. That's why I put it in my
Yeah.
bio. I'm like, I am this.
And
And now
declaring
I can
it,
say, yes,
yes. And that's
yes.
important, Nikeva. It's important that you do that for yourself.
Hmm.
It's also really important that you do that for those around you because in the
Right.
Caribbean, I moved home 4 years ago and I still don't feel that people fully accept that I do and I'm very highly capable of doing more than one thing.
Right. Right.
And, I had some really very good mentors when I first got into broadcasting right here in Nevis. Like
Hmm.
my first
Hmm.
foray was when I was 15 years old
Oh,
and I was working at the radio station.
okay.
And, Mr. Herbert put all the older DJs and
Hmm.
announcers to
Hmm.
train me, but they didn't
Yeah.
just train me to be an on-air announcer. I
Yeah.
learned about production and
Hmm.
script writing,
Hmm.
okay, and all the things. And then that continued into university when I studied film and media in London. My mentor at one of the biggest Black radio stations at the time, because we had to do an internship as part of our degree, right? And
Hmm.
he said to me, Shani, you're an amazing presenter, but you need to learn how to produce, how to do this. And I'm so
Hmm.
grateful to them because I know how to do many things and I know how to do many things very well,
Yes.
right?
Very
And
well. Very
and there's
well.
and I think there's so much beauty in that. And for those that truly understand creative people, a
Hmm.
creative person is never just creative at one thing,
No,
right?
no.
They will
Right.
definitely be multi-talented across mediums and
Right.
across disciplines. So
Right.
for you declaring that very publicly on
Hmm.
Instagram, on your social
Hmm.
media, because you have a huge Caribbean following as well, I
Hmm.
think more of our creatives, no matter what age or stage they're at in their lives and in their
Hmm.
journeys, need to see that and
Yeah.
need to know it's okay.
Yeah. For sure. I needing to know it's okay. Definitely. Going and
Absolutely.
we see this in like an athlete, even like in high school you're an athlete that's really
Mm.
good at basketball and football and baseball,
Yes.
like it's that
Yes.
is I think we're all inherently good at many things,
Many
and
things.
then those of us that have the will and the belief in ourselves and like the support
Mm.
systems to get into to follow several things and then get to the level of doing them very well, just it takes that belief in self and it takes a great level of discipline for sure.
100%. So I want to tap into your Caribbean identity, right? Which you wear with
Hmm.
so much pride. And I
So
love
much, so much.
that. I
I
really,
know.
really love that. So, first thing, how do you feel that your roots have influenced the way that you create and
Hmm.
how you move through the world and represent yourself in all these global spaces?
Mm. Well, yeah, my pride when it comes to being from the Caribbean is, I think it's only grown every year of my existence.
I love it.
People don't even, I was, fun fact, born in Chicago, which no one
Hmm.
seems to think. But yeah, I think it's so cool. Like it's such a fun fact. I mean, I'm really gonna say that. And I mean that from the most genuine of
Mm,
places. Like I love Nevis. I love how rich the culture is, how embedded like my family in Nevis is so large that it's like it is my family. Like my mom has a very small family here. Our entire family
right.
really feels like it's in the Caribbean and in Nevis specifically. And I love
Mm.
family and we have such a strong family values and we have a group chat of 30 plus people and I just like I think it's so exciting to be involved with family. So I think that having a strong family presence is probably what pulls me the most. And
Mm.
if it, if it were only my dad, that I was interacting with, I probably would have a less charged up, feeling towards it. But it
Okay.
comes with my dad pulling us down there, and then this whole family that I'm so proud of. So shout out to every member of my family for real, because that's what I feel really grounds me and makes me so connected to my Navision roots, because that we're all so present with each other and we're constantly growing. My dad was
Mm.
one of 11, so
Oh,
there's
wow.
and many more nieces and nephews along the way, with like me being one of the elder cousins. So
Right.
I love my family, and the joy that I experience on our holidays with the masqueraders that come by the house, and the
Mm.
traditions that we have. It's just so special. So it feels fun, and it's great I love that no one knows about Nevis. Like when I
Yeah.
bring it up, I'm like, well, let me let you know that we're from this really special place. And
Right.
as much as I want to put Nevis on the map, and we all want to expand tourism, and so it is still fun that it's this hidden gem. It feels like
Yes.
a hidden gem, and I hope it always has that allure to it.
Yes.
And then, in Chicago, there's not a strong Caribbean presence. So
Okay.
that makes me feel great when I'm here to like rep for all the West Indies very hard when I'm in
Hmm.
Chicago. And then when in New York, it's so big and beautiful that I
Huge.
feel like I'm part of the team.
Yes.
I was raised very like Black Caribbean and American, not necessarily Black American here,
Right.
and white American, I meant to say. And so it's when I went to New York at 18, I was like, oh my gosh, my security guard at school is Haitian, and
Hmm.
this teacher has Jamaican background, and all of my friends were of either Caribbean descent or first generation African descent, and
Yes.
it was really beautiful to experience that, because I felt so much more connected to my
Yes.
blackness. Like I always was,
Hmm.
very comfortable with my racial identity and my mixings for sure.
Hmm.
Thankfully, because of where I grew up and seeing people like me all the time and so forth, and the way that I was raised. But specifically that Caribbean part of me, it was like going to New York. I was like, oh, this is a true part of my identity that I can lean into even more, because
Right.
I'm going to a regular club, but hearing songs I only hear when I'm in Nevis, and I wasn't hearing that in Chicago. Like this is beautiful. So I think the influences that I have in that move I made to New York for college, and the friends that I've surrounded myself with, that just allowed me to like lean into my West Indianness that much more. And the culture as a whole is so special to me. And I just want to continue to press onward in that direction. Like I need my house, I need
Yes.
my land, I
Yes.
want like my
But you're speaking it into existence, Nikiva. You know
oh
how you do,
yes,
right?
I
You
know how I
know
do. I
how
know it
you
will
do.
come. I
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. I want to go back to something that's you've mentioned a few times now in terms of, you very happily identifying, with your mixed race,
Mhm.
right? With your
Mhm.
mixed race identity.
Yeah.
Um, but you were saying that you were in Chicago, although you were in a community where you saw yourself reflected, on the
Yes.
whole, the Caribbean community was not as
No.
established or vibrant as it is in New York.
Right.
So were there any moments in Chicago where you felt not necessarily treated unfairly or badly because of your mixed race identity,
Mhm.
but maybe questioned about it?
Um, you know, I proudly can say
Hmm.
my mixed experience. Oftentimes, when I read or
Mm.
read or watch videos online, it kind of gives you a one-sided mixed experience, and the tall
Yes.
tale of like I don't fit in with the white people and I don't fit in with the black
Right.
people. And
Right.
I will truly and proudly say that is not my experience. I
Mm.
feel very fortunate to have always felt very comfortable in my mixed identity. I felt
Hmm.
like having a black dad and a white mom, like I felt like I had the best of both worlds when I was in school. I felt
Right.
like I would like charmingly say like I'm an Oreo, and it was
Hmm.
never fortunately, like I do not recall any negativity from either side,
Okay.
for me. And I also had literally like four mixed black and white friends. So I was never alone.
Right,
I had
right.
like my group of girls, let's say there's 10, there's three white, three black, and four mixed. Like
Okay.
I had that. I was fortunate to have that. And the then to separate my blackness also was never separated as she's like West Indian versus Black American.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, it was never separated. It just wasn't celebrated. I'll say
Okay.
that. It was never
Okay.
separated. It
Yeah,
was just never
yeah.
celebrated.
I understand.
I
Yes.
wasn't I don't remember being like, I definitely wasn't like showboating my St. Kitts Nevis flag left and right like I
Mhm.
probably would now. But it wasn't like shame either. I think it was just I had less identity with it because I wasn't
Okay.
surrounded by that, so it wasn't as fun to like to celebrate. But I also was
Okay.
never hidden. Like my all my friends love my dad, and like, they would come over, they know what time it was. His rice and beans are the best around the block, and like always cooking. And his accent is the funniest thing for so many people in the best
Mm.
way.
Mhm.
um so yeah, it wasn't as much of a thing.
Okay.
But it was
Okay.
never negative. That was a good question. I had to really think about that.
Mm.
I cannot pull on any less than positive experience.
And I love that. And I really love that for you,
Yeah.
Nikeva. I grew up in England, I'm not mixed race, but I
Mhm.
grew up north, where the Black and mixed race community, even though we were loud and proud, we were actually very small.
Mhm.
We were
Mhm.
and mostly small islands, so St. Kitts, Nevis,
Yeah.
Anguilla, Antigua.
Mhm.
And, I remember my mixed race friends being really tormented, because they felt they were either not Black enough or not white enough. There just
Mhm.
wasn't, a space for them to just be themselves and be comfortable
Yeah.
as themselves because they were constantly told that they
Mhm.
were different,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
even me as a young Black girl, of course, I had issues as well being up
Yeah.
north.
Yeah.
With our equivalent of the Ku Klux Klan was the National Front. And
Okay.
so, yeah, definitely had some run-ins.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember it being really
Mhm.
hard. So
Mhm.
hearing your experience, it helps to balance that. Because
Yeah.
I remember thinking, and even in London, my some of my mixed race friends, retelling their stories from their young days. It just like, wow.
Yeah.
So I love
Mhm.
hearing the alternative to that. And that,
Right.
yeah. So
And
thank you for sharing.
I definitely hold space for, I'm sure there's other people that have grown up in Chicago that have
Yeah.
experienced that. That just was not my experience. And I
Hmm.
do feel very
Hmm.
fortunate. I mean, even my brother might have a different opinion. I should ask him.
Right?
But that was fortunately not my experience. And
Mm.
I'd say it was, a very black and white, even experience when I was
Yeah.
growing up in Chicago and moving to New York. It became like heavily Black Caribbean and like
Yes.
let me lean into my identity that much more. And
Mm.
LA lacks in that department as well. But I moved to LA, in my later 20s, and I was very much like formed in my identity, and proudly so. So I didn't.
Mm.
I give New York that props for really
Yes.
shaping me, and I think it was one of the best moves. Like had I gone to college in Michigan, who would have known? Who would have known? I
True.
don't. Who
Very true.
knows? So shout out to New York
Shout
as
out
well.
to New York. I think there is a statistic somewhere, don't quote me,
Yeah.
where New York has one of the single most dense population of the
Mhm.
Caribbean
Mm.
diaspora
Yeah.
than most of the world
I
in terms
remember
of, I know there's something floating around
yeah.
there.
I remember a statistic as well that there's more people in New York from, St. Kitts Nevis than there are in St. Kitts Nevis itself.
Yes, that's probably very true. And I wish they
Um
would come home.
Yeah, but, shout out to New York. I mean, shout out to Chicago too because I didn't have negative experiences, so that's
Mm,
lovely. But, I wish there was more Caribbean-ness out here.
yes.
That would make me very joyous.
Okay. Well, I hope not too joyous because we want more of you over here. But
Oh,
yes,
yes,
of
yes,
course, I want you to have a
yes.
joyous Caribbean experience in Chicago. I
Right, right.
definitely wish that for you. And speaking of home,
Yes.
Over here, we love you for all the things, but we especially love you for the fact that you have become like a regular teaching artist, right?
Mhm.
In St.
Mhm.
Martin with Art Saves Lives, in Nevis with Island Girls Rock, in St. Kitts, Nevis with Leap and
Mhm.
Girls Eliminated.
Yes.
What do you feel anchors your commitment to pouring into young girls and emerging talents here in the region?
That this is such a timely question as I just agreed today to do another workshop in St. Kitts next month.
Yes.
I was going back and forth because I have a lot of commitments back here in Chicago, and I was like,
Okay.
I like do I take this and stretch my trip out a little longer? It might not be
Mm,
able to pay me what I would get paid in Chicago, but this means a lot to me. And I had to
right.
just like tune out everybody's opinion and just sit with myself and say like, what do I want to do? What do I feel called to do? What feels aligned? And the
Mm,
truth is like teaching young people is one of my favorite things to do. It is
mhm.
like I remember my first year doing Art Saves Lives and I was like, this is top two of my favorite jobs of all time. I'd
Love
say
it.
the only other one was like workshopping Beyonce for a Super Bowl, but
I mean,
it would
come
be
on
like
now.
both of those things. But like they go hand in hand. I am so rewarded working with
Yes.
young people. Like as much as I know I'm giving to them, I walk away feeling like an amazing amount of joy and just like a good
Mm,
human being and all I'm so filled up from those experiences that I was like, you need this as much as they need this. So I said
mhm,
yes again. And yeah, it just the feeling that I receive and that I'm able to give really grounds me with doing this. And then doing it in the Caribbean makes it that much more special. Specifically, being able to go to the small islands is very fulfilling for me as like
mm.
I know that we don't get the kind of love that these larger islands get.
Yes.
And see, honestly, I was so impressed with the level of talent in St. Martin and how much they have access to like dance classes specifically. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, if only like St. Kitts or Nevis could have this amount of access, like the Dutch and the French have really
Mm,
given a lot of attention to the arts there, and you can
yes.
see it, and it just shows like how important that is to enrich young people with many different skills. And I never actually walk in there saying that you guys need to go and be professional dancers. It's not about that. But the
Mhm.
way that they are training and developing discipline, which has been like a key word in this whole interview, like being in those kind of environments and pushing yourself and performing, like the amount of self-confidence that you develop as a performer. You've been on stage several times from a young age, you're working at
Indeed.
something, you're using your body, so it's promoting physical health and physical wellness. Like there's a million benefits to dance classes specifically, or movement classes and creative classes as a whole. But it made me really happy to see that in St. Martin, and then following that to start working with Island Girls Rock and Leap and Girls Illuminated. I wish it could continue to happen on a larger scale, and I
Oh, yes.
absolutely want to be around to see that through and continue to give my expertise so that we can make, like, when you see the poster of, oh, Nikeva's back to do a shape workshop, it puts it on the map. It makes it everyone
Mhm.
feel like, ooh, like this is a cool new thing and it should be hyped up,
Yes.
and a lot of, usually sometimes you need that to attract people and to show like this is a legitimate thing and let's
Yes.
make it a thing, and
Yes.
everyone can get on the bandwagon and get a piece of this.
100%.
So I just see the benefit in it. I feel like a big sister to so many younger girls and boys. I'm often like the youngest instructor in these programs, so it's fun to and I have a very young spirit, so I'll always be,
Yes.
the older sister. But yeah, it's such a rewarding experience, and I love to help in all those ways with the young people.
And you're so good at it, Nikiva. I've seen you in action for Girls Eliminated and also, of course, Island Girls Rock. And I've experienced you as a teacher. Hello.
Yes.
Through Intuit Body. So let's get into it. I
I
want to
love
talk
it.
about the Intuit Body and how you wear
Yes.
the hat of wellness practitioner. What
Yes.
inspired you to create that space that for me seamlessly blends
Mhm.
intuition,
Yes.
movement, and mindful physical training.
Yes.
So it's not just
Yes.
that we're there just working our bodies, it's very
Right.
intentional and
Right.
mindful. So tell me about the start of Intuit.
I love that you completely understood the meaning of the intuitive body. Like and it
Yes.
should intuitively make sense of what I mean by the intuitive body and where that
Mm.
comes from, especially if you've taken a movement practice with me. I love that. Thank you. It makes the brand feel that much more
Yay.
intentional. But good old pandemic,
Oh
that was
gosh.
my pandemic baby. And
Right.
I am appreciative for the time and space that that period in all its craziness allowed for. Like it was the rose that came from the chaos of that moment. And before that, I've always been an athlete into fitness. There's been several gyms that have or practices like cycling and Pilates and
Mm.
all these things that have wanted me to teach, but I never wanted to take away from my entertainment career to go
Okay.
do fitness because I didn't feel passionate enough about any specific training style.
Mm.
And I didn't want, to follow their rules and do it their way and take away from my auditions or what I
Mm.
knew was at my core focus. So it just never came. And then during pandemic, I was again, shout out to Instagram, doing a lot of things online and showing my workouts. And I was getting DMs all the time, like almost every single
Mm.
day, asking for, hey, what should I do for this? What should I do for that? Can you give me a workout? What are you eating? Like, and I was, when you start a business, they say, well, what can I serve? What can I bring to the community?
Mhm.
Like, what area do I, is my service going to help? And it was very clear that there was a need and I could fulfill that. I started doing my Zoom classes because that was the thing at the time and sending, I had a
Yes. Oh, good old
email list
Zoom.
and everyone was popping in and I was getting great feedback. And then a friend of mine was like, just jump on Instagram live. And I swallowed that imposter syndrome for a split second and went on
Mhm.
Instagram live. And that also went over swimmingly. And then I had more friends in LA, like LA is, the fitness hotspot. So again, shout out
Yes.
to LA because my influence around me was like fit girls and doing all the things. So I had a couple of friends that were going live already, and we went live together and had group classes, and they were
Mm.
just really catching on, and we were getting really good at it. And brands started noticing. I started becoming a teacher, online teacher for Viore, which is a big
Right.
clothing brand, because I also modeled for them. So that's where like again,
Nice, nice.
multi hyphenate. They saw me as a
Mm.
model. I'm like, oh, I also teach fitness as well. So those opportunities came, and then once I was doing that enough, I said, you know what? I need a separate entity for my fitness page because I don't want this brand of Nikeva to become the squat girl or
Yes.
the fitness girl. Like
Yes.
I didn't want that to
Love
be
that.
my identity. So I
Yes.
then made a separate page so I could post as much as I wanted to about the fitness, have people that were just, I was gaining a lot of following around that time. And I wanted people to not be confused about like who they were following. So
Mm.
I made a separate page for that. So if you're just coming here for this, boom. If you don't want to see carnival stuff, you don't have to. Like it's over
Right?
here with
It's
the
over
fitness
here.
stuff, right?
Yes.
And then I once how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I definitely wanted to see it fully through, and I made a whole business plan for the site. I made the site off of Squarespace. I did a professional
Squarespace.
photo
I love
shoot, and I
Squarespace.
really
Yes.
was like, I want to, draw this out as full as I can. Like I'm not someone that works in pieces. I have to like
Mhm.
do the whole thing and do it
Mhm.
really well the first time so that I don't go back and make a lot of edits. Like I
Yes.
do it. My final draft is pretty similar to the first draft, so to speak.
Okay.
Um, it just takes a little time. So I took my time. I made this website. My best friend and I were on the phone when I was coming up with the title, and I was like, I want something that I move my body intuitively. Like that is what tells
Mm.
me as I teach. Like I do plan often, but a lot of the time, and this is not out of laziness, but because
Mhm.
I'm working out with you on IG Live, I want to move with you and know what intuitively I need next. Like maybe I need
Right.
to stretch right now,
Right.
then I do some ab stuff, then we're going to sculpt the back of the leg, then we might turn prone and do some things in that position. Like so I was always moving intuitively for what I needed, and through my own muscle memory and my muscle library of bar classes, sculpt
Mm.
classes, yoga classes, ballet classes, hit classes, like everything that my body is used to doing was coming up in these classes. And it was all coming from an intuitive space. I don't like moving choppy. Everything is connected like a dance.
Mhm.
So I was describing this to her and I kept saying intuit this or intuit that. So we were going off of each other and I will give her credit. She was like, how I said the intuitive body. And she
Right.
was like, how about intuit body? And I was like, wait,
Yes.
you just nailed it. So I got to give that to her.
Okay.
And then I quickly, grabbed the website and I feel like the company Intuit, which you might not know down there, but it's a big company up here, was for
Okay.
some reason I started seeing it everywhere, which usually happens. Like the Intuit Dome was
I've
put
never
up
even heard.
in
What are
LA.
they, Nikeva? I've never heard of
I think
them.
it's an insurance company. I hope
Oh,
I'm saying that
wow.
correctly.
Okay.
But it might not be insurance, but it's some like big corporate company. But with a different background completely than mine. So
Mm.
I was like, I'm still gonna go with it. But it's funny that now I keep seeing that name, which is actually good for when you search into it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'll take
Of
that
course.
those hits as well. So stuck with the Intuit body. I love it. It means everything to me. It means that much more when somebody else can tell, like yourself, how you described my
Yes.
movement practice. I'm really proud of that. Oh, fun fact, my student from Art Saves Live designed all of my
No.
logos.
No
Yes,
way.
yes.
One of your students.
One of my students, a beautiful singer and dancer, also has a creative hand at artistry. And I asked her, I was like, I would love for you to draw this design. And
Mhm.
it's basically my body inspired poses for the different logos that I have for the site.
Beautiful.
And it was great to work on with her. It makes me really proud that that's like, that she helped me with
That's
that.
wonderful, Nikeva. And that's again,
Yeah.
that's the whole ecosystem just,
Mm-hmm.
just doing its thing. And I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was the Intuit body. And I think that now I'm finishing my Pilates certification
Yes, you
and
are.
I that's just something that I wanted to add officially to
Mm,
my Intuit practice. And now it makes so much sense why I took that time to create the Intuit body over pandemic. Like everything, I feel like everything I've ever done always makes sense eventually and it comes
mhm,
full circle. It all comes full circle. And I couldn't be more proud that that site is there for everyone to view. It's set up,
yes.
I even though I wasn't there's been years where I haven't been able to lend myself to that because my
Mhm.
acting has taken off or my dancing or my modeling. Like I love that it's there. It's there for me to grow at my own pace.
Wonderful.
It's not interfering with the other parts of my life that I feel very
Mm,
passionate about, but it's something that I wanted to develop for my own because especially the other things that I do in life are so dictated by this person sitting behind the table. And for
right.
this, it's my own practice. And when
This
I
is
want to take on
you.
clients and when I want to teach and how much I want to charge. So it's the one thing that I have full control over.
Yes, and it's very intentional.
Absolutely.
So it's
Mhm.
fine. It's growing at its own pace,
Absolutely.
which is
Yeah.
beautiful, right?
Mhm.
So in the
Yes.
midst of all of these things now, Nikeva, Miss Nikeva, in the midst of the dancing, the modeling, the intuit, the acting, you then become an ambassador with the Nevis Tourism Authority. So
Yes.
I want to know, how did that partnership come about? And
Mhm.
what does it mean to you? How does it feel really? Because I like to focus on feelings, right?
Yes.
How does it feel for you to represent your beloved Nevis in such an official capacity?
I was super honored and almost surprised. It was in 2022, I believe,
Hmm.
when I was first given the title. It's an honorary title, and there were a few people selected to carry that title, and I took it very seriously, probably more seriously than anybody had, which I think is why I continued on. And
Hmm.
it felt like it felt like I was carrying my family's legacy as well.
Mm.
I always speak about my grandfather, David Freeman,
Yes.
and his Navision legacy is so strong. And I feel like this is my way of carrying on his legacy. And I
Hmm.
was just so proud. It nailed me to Nevis that much stronger. It gave
Yes.
me, I still before that was as proud as I am now, but it gave me even more legitimacy. I feel like being a part of Nevis and my family, and I wanted to put on for them. And now we work together on like a contractual basis, and I, would love to continue to be as much of a help as I can. I always say that I'm here to lend my expertise in any areas that I can
Mm,
to the tourism authority, and we'll see what the future holds. But for the capacity that I was given to work with them was really great, and I did
mhm.
what I could in that time, and I think it was just fun to my favorite part of it was doing the interviews. During the series, we had Taste of Nevis, and
Yes, I
that
love
was
that
my
series.
yeah, the on-camera
Yes.
hosting was so fun. I feel like that opened up a whole nother door. I was like, "Wait, do I wanna get into hosting now?" Like, I think so.
I
I
listen, Nikeva, you are that girl. She's like, oh, never thought of this before.
Yes,
Oh, but I'm quite
no,
good at it, and I love it. So let's do
yes,
it. Yes,
1000%. I
yes.
was like, "I'm literally gonna put together a hosting reel and make sure that people know that I am down to do that as
I'm
well."
available.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was great, and it felt very natural, and, it
Hmm.
combines the things, the actor, the model, the person
Of
likes to
course it
talk, like,
does.
let's do it.
Yes.
So that was my favorite part of that, partnership, and, yeah, we'll see what continues over the
Yeah.
years, and I just like to stay connected at any way in any way that I can.
Okay. So I'm gonna put you on the spot just a little bit, right?
Okay.
So she's like, wait, what? What are you gonna do? No. So as so what's your official title, Nikeva? Cultural ambassador with the Nevis Tourism Authority? What is it?
I was the cultural ambassador for the island of
Okay.
Nevis,
All
and
right.
now I work closely with them on a contractual basis.
Okay. So my question was, if you had to say to someone who had never heard about Nevis, who didn't know anything about the island, if you were to say to them, these are the three reasons that you need to go to Nevis, what do
Mm.
you think those three reasons would be?
Number one, I would say to experience the Caribbean as close to its natural form,
Mm,
because I don't feel it's been overrun with
mhm.
tourism in the way that people visualize the Caribbean. Like,
Yeah.
not to throw them out there, but like a sandals or something.
Yes.
It's as true to what the Caribbean has. I mean, I wasn't around, right, 50 years ago, but I see it as like the
Mhm.
most raw form
I
of
was.
the Caribbean. Yeah. But
Mhm.
I see it as like an untouched,
Mm,
um, beautiful Caribbean experience that
right.
does not is not commercialized.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is the first and foremost. I think that's what sets it apart.
Mhm.
Two, man, I think that its size is so charming. And I
Okay.
feel going, and I never recommend that people go there for less than 5 days. I think even 5 days is too short.
Very much so.
But I feel like immersing yourself on this tiny rock
Mhm.
allows you to escape. I don't think about the rest of the world at all when I am
Right?
there. And I think that everyone needs to experience that level of
Yes.
peace.
Oh,
That
yes.
level of peace and quiet, the cricket and tree frogs at nighttime, like
Listen,
you
that is the perfect nighttime symphony, and I love
yes.
it. I still love
Yes.
it. Yep.
Yes. And you can experience that on another island, but it's not quite as quiet as
Mm.
Nevis.
Mm.
And a third, from what I've experienced,
Yeah.
I'm it always comes back to, like, the rawness. The animals? Can we go with
Yes.
that? Like,
Of course.
I think that it's such a beautiful experience to have free roaming
Oh,
donkeys and cows and sheep and goats and chickens and whatever you
Eva?
find up in the
Yes.
mountain. I
Yes.
think that that means that we've been doing something good with the ecosystem in order for,
Mhm.
like, that to still be. And it would break my heart if that ever changed about
Yes.
Nevis.
Nikeva, yes. I
Yeah.
have to tell you, this morning, on my morning walk on my way home, there was this beautiful, there was a beautiful cow, right?
Mhm.
Just,
Yes.
just there, eating the grass. And
Yes.
I swear to you, I stopped and I spent at least 2 minutes
Yeah.
looking at this cow because,
Mhm.
and she could feel me. So she looked up And she
Yeah.
just looked at me and I looked at her and I just was like, we are so blessed on this island.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So blessed. I'm on my way from
Yes.
my walk, just randomly bump into a cow
I
eating the
love
grass.
it. I love it.
And it
It's
was
so
so
majestic.
beautiful. Yes. Yes. I like
Yeah.
your three reasons for people to visit. I
Good.
do.
I then yeah, that was definitely putting me on the spot a little bit with that
I
too, because
did.
I hadn't thought of that before. But that is my first thought, best thought. You know,
Mm,
I think that's what stands out because there
mhm.
are many beautiful Caribbean islands. I love the Caribbean. I
Yes.
want to go to every island, and I think, you know, there's so many similarities. But I would say that those three in combination would separate Nevis
Yes.
from all of the ones that I've at least been to.
I love that. So come for the
Yeah.
peace because you mentioned the
Yes.
word peace and how
Yes.
peaceful it feels. Come for
Mhm.
the authenticity, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
peace, authenticity, and just the
Mhm.
healing that you receive from less cars,
Yes.
less
Yes.
traffic, less
Yes.
noise, and
Yes.
more rooted in actual living organisms, animals. Like
Yes.
it
Yes.
sounds simple, but it's
Mhm.
something that when you live outside of the Caribbean and you live
Yeah.
maybe even on bigger islands where
Mhm.
it feels a bit more city-ish,
Yeah.
right? And you easily get distracted by all the things, all the flashing
Yes.
lights, right?
Yes. The simplicity. I
Yes,
wish so like the peace, the authenticity, and the simplicity. I
yes,
think those are the three. And, you know, we can break those down what they mean, but peace, authenticity, and simplicity are the things to me that make Nevis so different. And, you know, like the question of someone asked me the other day, well, what can I do there? It's not an island that you necessarily go and do things.
but
Like
there's
there's
so
things to
much.
do,
Yes.
but we're so used to needing those distractions
Like,
and
what do
like,
I need to do?
yeah, like, okay, well,
Right.
is there a club that I can go to? Or is this, that? And like, you know, maybe it's a place that you go there to do nothing but just be.
But just
Like, I
be.
can't wait to get there and just be. And of course, there's things to do, and I find all the things to do. But
Mhm.
I most look forward to sitting on Paradise Beach and
Mm,
letting a cow pass me by.
mm.
That is
Okay.
what I need in my life.
That is what you and you know we're coming up because we're recording your episode just ahead of the festive season.
Yes.
And so we have, Christmas and we
Yes.
have St. Nevis Carnival, which is
Yes.
my Christmas.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to that.
Mhm.
And, just the idea of being still and being amidst all of that, because like you said, there's lots to do on this
Yes.
small island. Don't get it twisted, people listening to this.
Right. Right.
I actually have had to turn down invitations
Yeah.
because sometimes I can be out in these streets like during the week and on the weekend there's always something to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's not Trinidad, okay,
No.
and it's not Jamaica, but
Right.
that doesn't mean that there are not things to do here.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So let's be clear, people listening, but
Mhm.
also it is the perfect island where you can choose to just be
Yes.
and
You
watch
can
the
choose
cows.
to just be.
You can
Yes.
choose to just be right here in Nevis. Okay.
Mhm.
So for y'all wondering, where should I holiday next? Come to
Yeah.
Nevis. It's
Choose
the
to
perfect
just be.
balance.
That's gonna be the new tourism phrase.
Oh,
Choose to
okay.
just
You
be.
see, we've just done that. Choose to
To
just
just
be
be.
created
Yes.
by Chantal and Nikeva. All
Yes.
right. We out here.
Hello. Yes.
So, Nikeva, my love, looking ahead, right? What feels alive for you? So I'm going to ask you that again. Looking ahead,
Mhm.
because there's so much going on for you. And I feel like there's so much to look forward to for you.
Yes.
So, looking ahead, what feels alive for you? And in what way do you want to continue uplifting Caribbean girls and women through your work?
Mm. First thing that comes to mind and what feels alive is my entertainment career. I
Mm,
feel we started talking about this in the beginning with the
yes.
acting. And as you were saying that, I was like, wow, I just finished two movies in the
Oh,
fourth quarter alone. And I can't
Yeah.
believe that I'm at that point. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and that feels because you do the work and then it comes
Mhm.
out. So no one knows you do the work, and then it comes out a year
Mhm.
later, and it's like, oh my gosh, like even though it happened a while ago, and hopefully by that time I'll be on set for something else.
Yes, you will.
I feel like 2026 and going forward, but let's talk about 2026. That
Mhm.
part of my life feels I have this like tingle of excitement that there are things and doors that will open in that direction that I have no idea how good it's going to get. And that
Mm.
part of my life feels very alive and very like it's on simmer, and it's going to come to a boil real soon. And maybe it's higher than a simmer because I just finished these movies, but that I feel like, oh gosh, like it's sizzling for
It's
sure.
sizzling.
Um and I think that you know the more projects that I do, I
Mhm.
feel myself becoming more and more influential to young people,
Mhm.
and yes, the young girls especially that can see me in their likeness.
Yes.
And I think that every time I book something, it feels like it's for me, but it's also for those people that are looking up to me.
Right.
And I love that I'm as a dancer, for example, like when I'm going to teach with them, it's this summer I missed Art Saves Lives because I was on tour with Lana. And
Yes, you. Oh, I love how you
I
just
felt
casually. I was on tour with Lana. Just so
but
casual.
it feels casual when you're in it. But I
I
do
love that.
see, but I felt terrible because I'm missing, what I said was my favorite job, but I'm missing it while
Mm.
doing something that will leave these girls feeling so inspired. Like, oh, Miss
Yes.
Nikeva can't come because she's in London with Lana Del Rey performing
Yes.
at Wembley right now. Like that is
Mhm.
I recognize that as it's fun to be able to still be in the career while teaching,
Mhm.
as a teaching artist, and still like just proving to those that I'm influencing that like you can just keep going. Like I'm so inspired to continue and to
Mhm.
keep going, both for myself just to continue to see how good it can get, and that with
Yes.
each new thing, someone else is able to be like, wow, and then there's this, and then there's this, and like I can do that too.
Mhm.
um yeah, it's like can't stop, won't stop.
I love, and what a beautiful way to end our conversation and to wrap it up. Nikita, thank you
Yes,
so much. I
thank
feel that
you.
you've shared so many wonderful gems that I know BreAnna is going to have a joy, like, ooh, what should I choose? What should I choose to
Yes.
edit out, right? So thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you do, not just for Nevis, but for showing up as yourself in such an authentic way, in
Hmm.
such a loving and joyous way as well. You know, I feel like
Yes.
whenever I happen to bump into any of your social media pages, it's always infused with the joy that I need for that day. So
Mm.
thank you for putting that out into the world, especially the way the world is right now. Like we are
Yes.
living an Octavia Butler book at the moment. I think it's
Yes.
Parable of the Sower. I feel like it's Parable of the Sower. So thank you so, so much, Nikeva. And I will
Yes.
be seeing you soon.
I
Lucky me.
know. See you soon. That was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're very, very welcome, my love. Very
Yes. And
welcome.
you're so good at this. What a like seamless conversation. And one thing leading to the next, I'm like, wow, did she plan this? It's so perfect.
Oh,
one of your
Kiva.
many one of your many talents.
One of my many
Another
talents,
thing.
right? That I'm
Yes.
actually really good at.
Yes, yes, you are.
Thank you for listening to the Island Girls Rock podcast. We'll be back soon with more stories, voices, and love from across the Caribbean. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Until next time, walk good.